You know that feeling?
Yeah.
When you're like looking at a big goal, something you really want, maybe feeling healthier or being more creative, maybe just having a calmer morning. But the change itself just feels huge, impossible even. Like you have to flip a switch overnight.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of being overwhelmed, it's super common, like trying to push a boulder uphill all at once.
Exactly. Well, this time on the deep dive, we're actually not talking about those massive gestures. Instead, we're digging into something surprisingly powerful, atomic habits.
Ooh.
This comes from the work of James Clear. And this is really for you, our listener, if you want to get useful insights, quickly and properly, but without feeling totally swamped.
Precisely. James Clear, he's really managed to boil down the science of habit formation into something, well, really usable, actionable. His book, Atomic Habits, it's taken off globally. Millions sold. Because it offers this different path, a more manageable way to think about improving things.
Right. So our mission today is pretty straightforward, but hopefully impactful. Really get to grips with the core ideas behind these atomic habits and see how these tiny little tweaks can actually, well, build up to really significant lasting changes in all sorts of areas of life. But we're drawing straight from Clear's work here. Okay, so atomic habits. Sounds cool. What does Clear actually mean by that term?
So think of it less like one giant shift and more like an accumulation. Hundreds of tiny decisions. He gives these really relatable examples like doing just 2 push-ups a day, or maybe waking up 5 minutes early, even holding a single short phone call. The key thing here, the really fascinating part, is what he calls the compound effect.
Compound effect, like interest in a bank account.
Exactly like that. Just how small, consistent deposits grow into serious money over time. These tiny actions, they build on each other. They compound.
Okay, so the big message isn't about needing these like huge bursts of effort we often pressure ourselves into. It's more about the steady drip, drip, trip of these small wins. That feels, well, a lot less scary, doesn't it?
It really does. And Clear, he reveals exactly how these minuscule changes can grow into such life-altering outcomes. It's a fundamental shift in how you look at it. You move away from that pressure for instant, massive results, and you start embracing the power of just small, consistent steps.
Now, he doesn't just like leave us hanging with the concept, right? The book gives some really practical tools, simple stuff almost.
Yeah.
What are some of these life hacks you mentioned?
Yeah, there are some great ones. One really useful technique is habit stacking. The idea is basically to anchor a new habit you want to build onto one you already do without thinking.
Okay. How does that work?
Well, say someone wants to practice mindfulness, they could stack it like, after I pour my morning coffee, which they do every day anyway, I will take 3 deep breaths. See? The coffee is the trigger for the new habit. You use the existing routine.
That's clever. Yeah, piggybacking on what's already there in your day. What's another one?
Another really powerful one is the 2-minute rule. This one's great. The core idea is you scale down whatever habit you want to start until the very first step takes less than 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. So like if you want to meditate, the 2-minute version might just be sit down on the cushion. That's it. Want to write more? Maybe it's just open the document. The goal is to make starting so incredibly easy, almost effortless that you just do it. It helps build the identity first.
I get it. It cuts through that initial, ugh, I don't want to start feeling that resistance. Okay, and then there was the Goldilocks Zone. Sounds kind of whimsical. What's that about?
Yeah. The Goldilocks Zone is all about finding the right level of difficulty for your habits. It's crucial for staying motivated. If something's way too hard, you'll just get discouraged, right? You'll probably give up. But if it's too easy, you get bored.
Yeah.
Progress stalls. So the Goldilocks Zone is that sweet spot. It's challenging enough to keep you engaged, keep you learning, but not so hard that it feels overwhelming. You're always looking for that slight next step up once something feels comfortable.
And what really makes this stick, for me anyway, is that Clear emphasizes this isn't just like random self-help advice. It's grounded in actual science.
Yes, that's so important. He mentions cutting-edge psychology and neuroscience. These techniques work because they align with how our brains actually form habits, what drives our behavior, what motivates us. That scientific backing gives these simple ideas real teeth. It explains why they're effective for so many people.
And he doesn't just explain the science, right? The book apparently includes stories.
Oh yeah, lots of them. Inspiring stories of Olympic gold medalists, leading CEOs, and distinguished scientists. It really drives home the point that these principles aren't just for, one specific type of person or goal. It shows the universal application, how people in all sorts of fields use tiny, consistent actions to achieve really amazing things. Productivity, motivation, happiness, the whole lot.
Okay, so let's bring this right back to you, the listener, looking for those aha moments. Let's say you want to connect better with a relative you rarely talk to. Using that 2-minute rule, maybe it's just sending one quick text, thinking of you.
Hmm.
The tiny thing done regularly could actually make a huge difference in that relationship over time, couldn't it?
Absolutely. That's a perfect illustration. It shows how these small actions compound in areas way beyond just, say, work productivity or fitness. They can really impact your connections with people, too.
And just to be clear, especially for you if you like structure, what we're doing here is really focusing on understanding these core principles, clear outlines. It's not about promising some magic bullet, but about getting that foundational understanding of how habits actually work, so you can then apply it thoughtfully yourself.
Exactly. We're trying to give you a mental framework, a way of thinking about personal change, and how you can approach making shifts stick, whatever area you're focused on.
And it sounds like this framework is pretty versatile. The book suggests these tiny changes can have a, quote, revolutionary effect on your career, your relationships, and your life. That's a pretty big claim.
It is a bold statement, yeah. But when you really think about that compounding effect, small, consistent improvements in different areas, it starts to make sense. Little bits of learning add up in a career. Small, regular gestures of kindness totally change a relationship dynamic. It becomes much more plausible.
And look, it's not just us saying this stuff is compelling. Atomic Habits has got some serious heavy hitters singing its praises. Mark Manson, Subtle Art of Not Giving Effect, calls it supremely practical and useful. Adam Grant says it's an engaging, hands-on book, the guide you need to break bad routines and make good ones.
High praise from him.
Right. Ryan Holiday calls it a special book that will change how you approach your day and live your life. And even the Financial Times chimed in, calling it a step-by-step manual for changing routines. That's quite a consensus.
It really is. Those endorsements, they just underline how effective people find these strategies. It's not just theory. It's practical, actionable stuff that resonates broadly, gives it that extra layer of validation.
Yeah, and it's interesting if you mentally place Atomic Habits next to other bestsellers, right?
Yeah.
You've got your thrillers, your cookbooks, maybe some quick fix guides. Claire's book really carves out its own space. It focuses squarely on that fundamental process of change through behavior, through habits.
That's a great point. It's a different kind of value proposition. While other books might give you specific knowledge, like a recipe, this gives you the understanding of how to learn any recipe, metaphorically speaking. It's about the underlying skill of implementing change, which you can apply almost anywhere.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, our listener, the core takeaway here. It seems to be that big, significant change doesn't always need that huge, overwhelming effort up front. Often it's the small, almost invisible, consistent actions, the atomic habits that build up. They compound over time to create really profound, lasting results.
Exactly that. It's about appreciating those marginal gains, understanding that actions that seem insignificant in the moment, when you do them consistently day after day, that's where the real transformation happens long term.
So maybe just take a second now. Think about one tiny habit, just one, you might want to start building based on what we've talked about. Could it be like sending that one text message, doing 2 minutes of stretching when you get up, reading literally just one paragraph of a book before sleep? What's one small step you could actually take today?
And maybe leave this thought with you to chew on. Imagine the cumulative power. If you made tiny, consistent improvements in a few different areas, your health, maybe your work, your learning, your relationships, how could that compound? What unexpected, significant, positive changes might unfold over the next few months, next year, if you really embrace this idea of atomic habits? It's definitely something powerful to consider.